life. My name is Adewalagoke Jr. Please review us, rate us, give us a 5-star, don't be a hater. Today, I'm going to talk about something super awesome, the Karjakz Assassin's universe. You know what I'm saying? The comic book, man. I'm going to break down the comic book, man. The book that's been out now since August 27th, 2025. I released it. You know, it's a great book, man. It's a great read. It's changed my life. It's opened a lot of doors that I expected to be open, and now those doors are actually opening. That's what the comic book's about. And today I'm going to focus on Karjakz Assassin's Training Day, the actual comic book. Yes, I'm using an entire podcast to focus on that. You know what I'm saying? But before we get into this podcast, you know, we always got to thank our sponsors. This Sanusi Vision podcast is brought to you by Homeland Fashions, home of authentic African fashion accessories from the motherland. That's Homeland Fashions. So Homeland Fashions is owned and operated by one of the greatest CEOs out there in the galaxy, Tracy, the greatest CEO out there in the galaxy, Tracy Agboke. She's going to be on the show so she can break down exactly what's going on with Homeland Fashions. But before she comes around, I'm going to always show you the logo because she's one of my sponsors. And one of the reasons why I want her to become one of my sponsors because of the apparel that they're doing. It's African attire. And anything that's got to do with African attire, I'm definitely always down for. So Homeland Fashions, right here, homelandfashionshop.com is going to be the website. But this is the logo right here. So they're definitely going to bring that up, man. So homelandfashionshop.com. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great take on African attire and a different style of clothing that she's coming with. You know what I mean? It's going to be something amazing. And this podcast also brought to you by Tigler. If you need executive services from plumbers to pediatricians and everything between, that's Tigler.com. Don't wait. Search today. That's Tigler.com, y'all. Don't wait. That's Tigler.com. That's Tigler.com. You know what I'm saying? This Tigler.com is the logo of Tigler.com, and it's owned and operated by the greatest CEO out there in the galaxy, Adetaya Bookie. He's running an amazing platform, So Tigler.com is basically designed to basically bring anybody who needs any professional from any platform, whether it's nurses, doctors, carpenters, landscapers, or contractors, to come and do the job. You vet them to make sure they're good, and then when they're good, you go through Tigler.com. That's how you figure out who's good and who's bad. So basically, Tigler.com is the greatest platform for that, and that's another reason why I joined forces with them. I love always working with businesses that are going to grow to be bigger, small businesses, and they're growing. They're creating a platform for where they can succeed on their own. So Tigler.com, and Tigler.com is located in 2 locations. You've got them in the East Coast section in Virginia. You've got them in the West Coast section in the Los Angeles, Long Beach area. So if you're in either of those places, Tigler.com is definitely available for you to help you get where you want to grow. And then, you know what I'm saying? And then also, too, like I said, it's owned and operated by Adetaya Bookie, one of the greatest CEO out there in the galaxy. I've had him on the show. I think it was episode 104. No, excuse me, episode 140. But I plan on bringing him back on the show again to be a guest on the show. And thank all of y'all for joining me tonight with Sanusi Vision Podcast, episode number 230, Karjakz Assassin's Training Day. Thank you for joining me. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and definitely hit the notification button, man. And this podcast also brought to you by oh my God, Anadel for the knuckle. Don't live through pain. Let Anadel for the knuckle make your feet happy again. That's AnadelCenter.com for details, y'all. That's AnadelCenter.com for details, y'all. AnadelCenter.com is owned and operated by Dr. Nero Ndesode, one of the greatest food specialists in the galaxy, right there. They're located in 2 locations in the Dallas, Texas area and the Frisco, Texas area. So if you're having a lot of foot pain and you're in that area, you want to go see Dr. Nero Ndesode so they can get your feet right where it needs to be. And I do mean get your feet right where it needs to be. A lot of us will walk around with foot pain, and we should be doing that. We should be trying to heal our feet and get it the best it can be. And so if you're in those 2 locations, you want to go pay a visit to Dr. Nero Ndesode, the foremost foot specialist in the galaxy. Yeah, you heard what I said, in the galaxy. So, you know what I'm saying? And look, let me get one more thing for y'all. Hold on. All right, y'all. So thank y'all for giving me a moment to step away. But Anadel for the knuckle, man, you got to get you one of these right here on your feet. Custom design authority is designed for yours truly. And trust me, when I do tell you they make a difference, man. Plantar fasciitis for the longest was a problem for me. It ain't no problem no more. Thanks to these custom orthotics, man. I tell you, it's really helped me to implant like it's designed to really literally formulate towards my feet. So if you are experiencing foot pain, you don't need to do all that. You need to go see Dr. Minnesota and get your feet where they need to be. So yo, AnnaDaleCenter.com for details, y'all. AnnaDaleCenter.com for details, y'all. Yo, today I'm gonna get into the podcast about the Karjakz Assassin universe, specifically the Karjakz Assassin Training Day comic book. Yes, today is the focus on that. You know what I'm saying? I've waited a long time to be able to do that, and actually, and it is as you see the title, Karjakz Assassin Training Day comic book. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually giving it that title. So literally, you know what I'm saying? But for me, one of the biggest things, I'm actually gonna put a poll question. Would you rather be? I think this is gonna be an awesome question. All right, so y'all, thank y'all for joining me, man. Look, like I said, and one of the things I want to do today too, whether it's been skipping in the news or whether it hasn't been in the news, I'm Nigerian. And the one thing that's bothering me is I need to get this out of the way because tomorrow I'm going to focus on this actually specifically tomorrow when I go live. Right now in Sudan, people are getting slaughtered in droves. And I'm shocked at the fact that, well, it's not that I'm not shocked, but all these mainstream media don't care. They only care when they're stealing resources from the place. But when they're massacring the people, and the people that are massacring these people are Arabs massacring Africans that look like me in Sudan. Meanwhile, the useless governments in Africa aren't doing anything. I don't know why it is that people think it's okay for African lives to be taken, but then you want to show us love when you want to give us water. We don't need your damn water. What I want to see from my fellow Africans is, we can't expect this from leaders because the leaders in Africa are useless. If your name ain't Traore, Gayotal, Ticheni, you're a useless African leader to me. We only have 3 good leaders in Africa. The rest of them are bastards. And I got no problem saying it. They're all bastards. Specifically the one in Tanzania, she's a piece of shit. You've got one in Cameroon, he's a piece of shit. But here in Sudan, they're murdering people in droves and millions. These people's bloods are staining the ground. You could even see a satellite image of these people's blood from the satellite image in the sky. That is crazy. And yet the world doesn't give a damn. But here you are bitching about Ukraine, putting the camera on Palestine because it's white people, Israel's killing Palestine. But here Africans are murdered by Arabs and nobody's doing anything. Because Arabs have, for the longest, been trying to Arabize Africa. Well, I got news flash for you Arabs. Fuck you motherfuckers. You are not going to Arabize Africa. It's not going to happen. My generation is going down. If we got to fight you to death, that's what we're going to do because they keep getting away with this shit. They come with the Maliku Salam bullshit, and the Maliku Salam bullshit you come with is not what you're selling. You're selling death, and you're stealing resources. Your country is going to shit, so you decide you're going to steal our resources to feed yourself. That's what's happening in Sudan right now. That's why nobody's caring. Because meanwhile, you have these crooked African leaders, particularly Ruto in Kenya. He's taking money from the same RF group that's murdering Sudanese. But I'm going to address this tomorrow, definitely when I go live. I'm definitely going live with this episode right here. I don't see a point of having a platform like mine that continues to grow, and I don't talk about nothing that's actually real. No, I'm going to talk about something that's real. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. But for today, let's get back to the comic book, man. Karjakz Assassin's Training Day. This comic book has been an epic achievement for me. I just needed to get that off my chest, y'all, because that thing has been bothering me so much all day at work. All day at work, I was thinking to myself, what am I going to say when I go live on my YouTube channel? You know what I'm saying? I'm getting tired of people not using their platforms to actually do good. All they use it to do is feed their pockets and line their pockets. My platform is growing. I'm the same guy who puts on pictures of kids who are missing because I got to do something about that. I'm not just going to see the picture and not do nothing about it. I can't have it. I got to do something. You know what I mean? But Karjakz Assassin's Training Day is the focus today, the comic book, man. This thing is quite the achievement, man. And the idea of it actually came when I used to drive Uber at the time. And this is going to make you laugh. I used to drive Uber at the time. And at the time, it was the first time I created, I was starting to create t-shirts. It was around 2016. I started to create t-shirts and I wasn't sure what I need to do next with my characters. And then I kind of realized, well, you can only evolve so far before you do something else with these characters. I said, what am I going to do with these characters? Because I really got to do something with these characters. Then I just said to myself, how about you just create a comic book? And I'd never done a comic book. The only thing I'd read was really the ones that I grew up on. X-Men, maybe some Avengers, Batman, Spider-Man. But I never really thought that I'd be making a comic book. My focus was always on animation. And you know, because for the longest, comic books have been dying away. You know what I'm saying? So to actually have this book in my hand is actually quite the achievement. You know what I'm saying? And so when I started the journey, it was all just an idea. I had to figure out how I was going to go about creating this idea, because I can draw, I can write, I can do all that. But you actually literally create a comic book, page by page. What's it going to look like? So that's when this started. And look, there was this thing I used. There's this prototype. This right here was my script. Was a script I created for myself in order to be able to create this comic book. It may sound corny to you, but this is the way the story happened. And I generally have a tendency of creating something that I know is elevating me in my mind, how I'm going to go about doing it. So I said to myself, well, let me write some scripts. So simple things like this. Look, let me take this out of the bag that I put it in, because I keep this in the sleeve. This thing is literally what helped me write the comic book. This thing is literally what helped me create this comic book. Without this thing I'm about to show y'all, I would have no comic book. I just was like, okay. So when I would sit there, and I remember first time when this journey started on 10/6/2016, right? That's when I wrote this date. That's what I wrote on this thing right here. And I used a pencil. And I remember, look at these are the directions I was giving myself. Okay, you gotta draw this. I drew a box. One for the Karjakz, one for the assassins. Then I labeled it page 1 and 2. Karjakz in the danger room versus the coyotes. Giving each page a title. That's all much I knew I needed to do. And so then, once I did that, I was like, okay, I started to get pages 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10. You know what I'm saying? Because you already know, when I started this journey, Karjakz Assassins was based on myself, my 2 brothers, and my sisters. So I don't need to regurgitate that. Most people that are fans of my characters know where they started from. And that's how I got the idea for creating my comic book. The whole idea was, and also too, the main thing for me was creating characters that actually look like me. I mean, you can only do something so much where you're pleading your case to big companies to be diverse, but their job isn't to be diverse. They don't care about that. Their job is to make as much profit as they can. And if they can make profit off of diversity, then that's what they're gonna do. Which is why you get situations like Black Panther and Blade. They're not diversifying. They're just profiting off of diversity. You know what I'm saying? And people want to see, they're like, oh, look, they drew an African-American superhero. No, they didn't. They just made money off of it. Now they're making all these cartoons, African cartoons. They're making these Black Panther new cartoon they got out. And I haven't even really seen it. You know what I'm saying? So for me, Karjakz Assassins Training Day is the beginning of that structure. You know what I'm saying? I think for the longest time, I just thought to myself, okay, I need to come up with an idea, execute an idea, think of an idea, and just do it, man. And that's what I started doing. So when the whole idea came, I said, well, let's just get to work. I knew I had to have a certain amount of pages. I knew I had to have a certain amount of, I literally, y'all, went date by date, pages 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Here we go. Although I skipped 7 and 8, which I really didn't intentionally do on purpose, but I was writing ideas. And ideas is how you create something this great like this, as you can see. I was writing ideas. I had page 13 and 14, 15 and 16, 17 and 18, 19 and 20, 21 and 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, you know what I'm saying? 27, 28. I was just making stuff up, y'all. And I was going as I was going, you know what I'm saying? I was going as I was just going. And this thing, it's not, if you ever saw this thing in my hand, you might understand it, but it's hard to read it, right? So here I go. So then I said, okay, got the idea. What are you gonna do? How are you gonna take these amazing characters who were looking like this to make them look like this? This whole, what they look like now, I didn't have it till I got to the last page of the characters. And yeah, I know it's late on the podcast right now, but I don't care. I'm getting on. I wanted to get on. I want to go live on my podcast tonight. It's just something I wanted to do. You know what I mean? I'm not waiting. I record on Fridays, and I'm going to record on Fridays. I want to wait till tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I might go double feature and do another one again tomorrow. But Karjakz Assassins Training Day, I said, okay, we're going to go from this to this. We got to take the stories of these guys right here, this bio book, the combination of all 3 bio books. And thank all of y'all for joining me, man. Be sure to share, like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. these 3 bio books are gonna create what I got in my hand now. So I took storylines from each one of these bio books to create these books right here. You're not gonna have an idea to execute if you don't think of some way to execute it. So these were the books that were gonna help me execute it. So when I got to this book version right here, version 5, is when I realized it was time to create a comic book of my own. So I started with the idea, of course, it's always villains versus heroes, but then the story is what I had to put out. I had to figure out how I was gonna write the story, which leads to the point of creation. Like, I'm not gonna make this all long-winded. The creation part was really important because I think I needed to understand how I was gonna go about these characters, what the book was gonna look like, color scheme, background. So I made reference to a lot of comic books when I was growing up, particularly X-Men. X-Men specifically because X-Men has more than one character. You got Wolverine, you got Cyclops, you got Storm, you got Jean, you got Rogue, you got Gambit, you got Jubilee, you got Professor X. All these multitude of characters. So I figured since I had those comic books to reference to, why not just reference and use that reference to create my own comic book? So I started with Page. So I said, okay, that's how we're gonna do. We're gonna do that. We're gonna create a sequential comic book. Excuse me, y'all. Actually, I might get my stand. Shoot, this might make more sense. Y'all give me a second. I'm not sitting down. Hell no. Give me a second, y'all. I'm gonna grab my stand. I love using this stand sometimes. And I know it's late. I know it's late. Y'all, be sure to share, like, and definitely hit the subscriber button. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to the channel. Yes, people do podcasts at this time of night. Yes, they do. And if you love cool ideas, I suggest you tell all your friends about this comic book that I am talking about right now. Because this comic book is a game changer. Here we go. There we go. Now we're good. So y'all, for me, one of the things that mattered to me was the creation of the comic book and how I was going to go about it, right? So the creation idea was sequential. I needed to make sure the pages were right. How many pages was I going to have? Because I'd never done a comic book before. So there was only one way I was going to do it. I was just going to make it up as I went. That's literally what I was doing. I was making it up as I went. I was winging it. And at the time, y'all, I was actually driving Uber and Lyft at the time. So I would get up in the morning, get on the road, maybe around 6, 7, maybe 9 a.m. in the morning. I'd drive. I had a 4-hour shift. I worked my shifts in 4-hour increments. So I'd drive from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. because that's when traffic got crazy. And in California, it sucks. In California, traffic is atrocious. So if you know you don't want to be stuck in traffic, you better stop driving at 1 p.m. and just get into your car and go home and then come back and work later on after like 7 p.m. So that was my job. I was at the time I was personal training too, but I just got sick of personal training. I felt like clients were just sucking the energy out of me. And when clients are sucking the energy out of you, you have no time for your dream. So Karjakz Assassins, that's how that thing was born. I took the idea. I was like, yo, I'm going to take this. We're going to create sequential pages, which is why you see the way the front looks, right? And then the way the back looks. Because you got to remember, this is the original size of my comic book. That's basically what I started off with till I created the bigger one. And then I had the back, right? Changes were getting made as I was going. And now, I can't show you the whole comic book because I don't want to. Because then that would give away the rest of the actual comic book for those who want to buy it. I'm just going to show it to you, some parts. And then you see sequential. You see what I'm saying? I'll show you this right here, and I'll show you one more page. But you see the sequential art. You see that right there? That's how the whole concept got it going. Yeah, you see, that's pretty sick, huh? You know what I'm saying? Sequential, I had to be sequential with the book because it was the only way I knew I was going to be able to create the book. Like I said, again, never done before. So I referenced a lot of old comic books. And what's the one commonality I saw in all of them? They were all sequential. X-Men, Batman, Captain America, I'm trying to think, man. God, there was an array of comic books that I was just using to get myself going. Bottom line is, all I cared about was, how was this comic book gonna look? Y'all give me a second. Sorry, y'all. This thing is tripping sometimes. There we go. So, all I cared about was, how was I gonna get my comic books? How I was gonna make this comic book that you've never done before? And then, of course, how many characters are gonna be on one page? How many colors are gonna be on one page? What are the scenes gonna be on the page? People don't understand. Creating a comic book, man, it's not nothing easy, man. Not sweet while a lot of people do it with a team. But I did it by myself. You gotta understand, I started in 2016. I finished it off in 2021, right after the pandemic kind of ended, which it really didn't end until 2023, honestly, to be speaking. Then I spent the next 2 years editing comic book. Any mistakes I made, I did it every single day. I had a routine, man. It was always Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Sunday. I was always messing with the comic book, editing, recreating. People are coming in and out of my stream, but you want to see something, but you're not trying to listen to the story. And that's probably one of the things that gets on my nerves about people. Like I no longer have the patience for people that are just small in their mind, like where they're on this 2 seconds satisfy me nonsense. We have this microwave society. Most people would have not done what I did, where you're creating an idea like this and you're taking the time to do it. Like I literally did it all by myself. The printing, the production, the trademarking, the copywriting, even the comic book itself was all me. Literally all me. What do you see here? I put here, I am the writer, I'm the color editor, I'm the color art editor, lettering, inker, penciler, character designer. I'm a one-man wrecking crew. That's literally what I was. Nobody else helped me do this comic book. Most people didn't even think I was going to finish this book. You know what I'm saying? And then when it came out, all the flakes that we're talking about, let me know when the book comes out, were like nowhere to be found. So if there's one thing I've developed really very well, it's not depending on people. I don't depend on people to get where I got to go. I depend on me to get where I got to go. As I always say to myself, I don't depend on externals to get me ahead. You know what I'm saying? I don't depend on externals to get me ahead. It's a line that I got from Oprah. You know what I'm saying? And I knew in order to do this comic book, I was going to have to depend on myself. I didn't ask anybody for nothing, not even family members. No money from nobody. All me. One-man wrecking crew. I don't expect nobody to give me nothing, so I'm not expecting them to give me nothing. I don't expect nobody to give me nothing, so I don't wait for nothing. So creating this comic book was plain and simple. The same way I created my characters when I started in 2009 and I finished in 2012 was the same way I started in 2016. And I said, I'm going to create my characters. I'm going to create my own comic book to fill a void that I think is missing. Because I got tired of watching cartoons, reading comics, and it's always the same old, same old. You were centralized characters. You know what I'm saying? Nothing that made look like me, nothing represented me, nothing was going to do nothing for my spirit. Even yesterday, we had a lecture come to my school. And at first, the person that was giving the lecture at first was kind of inspiring. Then all of a sudden, I was just like, yo, this person's like corny. Like you quit basically. You settle for just having a job and having health benefits. I can't rock with that. Thank y'all for joining me, man. Appreciate all of y'all joining me tonight. Thank you. Be sure to share, like, and definitely hit the subscribe button. I know what we're talking about here. Welcome to the Karjakz Assassins Training Day comic book. This is the episode. Yes, I'm focusing this episode on my characters. You doggone right. When you do as much work as I do, you gotta respect yourself. Hey, hello, Yagu. How you doing? Welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining me tonight. Thank all of y'all for joining me tonight. Joining the Sanusi Vision podcast tonight. Be sure to share, like, and hit the subscribe button. So share with your friends. If you know your friends are down for comic books, right here. I'm breaking down my comic book, how I did it, man. Yes, that story is also interesting too. I think a lot of y'all should take interest in, if you're a creator, if you're any kind of animator or maybe comics or anything like that, you want to take a good listen at what I'm doing tonight. You know what I'm saying? Don't be one of those skip over type of people. You know what I mean? So thank y'all for joining me, man. Be sure to share, like, and definitely hit the subscribe button, man. Thank y'all for joining me, man. You know what I mean? And then I thank y'all for growing the channel. Because as of today, we're at, God knows how many subscribers. I think 1,270. It's so many, it's not even funny, man. You know what I mean? But the creation of a comic book, y'all, the hardest part is not even the work. The hardest part is just not giving up. Looking at an idea that starts from nothing, which is basically this. Y'all, this is literally was my idea for my comic book. And also to just being able to reference my bio book. But I really didn't have nothing I was going off of. I was writing down stories, writing down ideas, and execute them into real pages. You can see right there. Literally. This is literally what I was doing. I was executing them into pages. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind showing this now because the comic book is out. But this is what I was doing. This is the only way this book was going to come alive. And I say the word come alive because it was not in existence. You see what I'm saying? And I didn't have nobody telling me how to do it, what to do. I didn't reference people. I was not looking for people's approval for what I was about to do. I didn't care what people thought. All I cared about was I got a book to create. I'm going to create it, and that's all that matters to me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't generally. It's creation of a comic book. If you look at this book right here, Sorry, y'all, my page is going to sleep. If you look at this book right here, anybody with any sense of any kind of sense in their head will know this guy put in work on this book right here. The hardest thing about creating a comic book is not the art, is actually writing down a storyline for what you're going to do, what each page is going to be, how the characters are going to interact with each other, every scene, the background, what the character's going to look like on every single page. Man, trust me, if you ain't never created a comic book, go ahead and try to do one and see how far you get. You know what I'm saying? And that's also too doing it by yourself. Hey, OMG, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. I appreciate you, Ruby Jones, for joining us. Thanks for joining. I'm good. How are you? Hopefully you're doing well, man. Welcome to another awesome episode of Sanusi Vision Life. This is podcast episode number 230. Today I get to focus on the coolest thing I've ever created, Karjakz Assassins, but today strictly on Karjakz Assassins Training Day comic book. I'm telling you the story of how I created the comic book. Yeah, I remember some of y'all. I remember some people, but thank you for joining me. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe. So, yes, remember some of y'all. I remember some of y'all. Y'all are there most of the nights. So thank you for joining me. Thank all of y'all for joining me. Thank you, Ruby, for joining me. Appreciate that, y'all. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. So, y'all, that's how the creation of my comic book came around. I just kind of told myself, well, you're just gonna have to use this conceptual idea to create it. And look, this is another thing I'm gonna show y'all. It's not that I want to show it to y'all, but it's probably good that I show it to y'all. This right here that I'm holding in my hand is the prototype of the book. You see, this was the original cover. And then, so let me hold it in place, let y'all see it good. This was the original cover. And thank all of y'all for joining me. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe. Then, as I went, this was the original first page. So I wrote a lot of notes to myself. I'm not going to show you this comic book because then that would show you the whole pages of the comic book, because this book is literally this book. This thing I'm holding in my hand right here is the prototype, which turned into this book right here. So no, I'm not going to get you a free look at my comic book. If you want my comic book, you got to go buy it. And one thing I've learned is that people that talk about buying something on these platforms ain't going to buy nothing. So, yo, Juan, what's up, man? Welcome to the chat, man. Welcome to another awesome episode of Sanusi Vision Life. Thanks for joining. Hope everything going good with you. I'm talking about the Karjakz Assassins Training Day comic book, my first comic book. I'm actually breaking it down how I did it. So right now at this junction, I'm talking about the creation part. It was quite the job, quite the challenge. You know what I'm saying? But I'm proud of the creation. But most importantly, I'm proud of its success. You know what I'm saying? I don't really look for people to pat me on the back. I just have a habit of building my own coalition, building my own success. I'm just like that, man. I'm always gonna be like that. I don't look to move to the, yeah, appreciate that one. Yeah, I don't look to move in a success. And I'm also too, in having my success, nobody knows I'm having my success. That's probably the best part of this whole journey right here. I can stay low key, as I always like to say. I move silent and I hit hard. Nobody knows what I'm doing, man. You know what I'm saying? I just keep doing it. That's how I do it. I move silent. So that's the comic book. So that's the creation part of the comic book. Looking back on comic books that I grew up as a kid, X-Men, Avengers, Captain America, Batman, all this different stuff, and realizing that the comic sequence of a book is created sequentially. And sequentially, y'all, basically means you're making the pages look the same. So let me use this book for example. You see how the cover page looks like that? Well, that same art, that same style of art becomes sequential in the book itself. You can see that in the way I created the intro page of the book. Y'all see what I'm saying? So that's how I created the comic book right there. You know what I'm saying? Even look on the back side of the book. You see that right there? It's still sequential. You know what I'm saying? So for all those who want a copy of my comic book, if you don't have this book by now, let me just be honest with you, you're a sucker. You know what I'm saying? Because the big one is 200, the small one is 100. And see, people make small decisions every day. If you buy my comic book now, imagine how much it's going to be worth, like, way down the line. But people have small ideas in their head. And that's why I've stopped talking to people a lot of times. I keep to myself. A lot of me is just moving silent. Nobody know what I'm doing. I'm going to keep it that way because you have a tendency to be more successful. Yeah, hey, Juan, I'm glad I can inspire, man. I always tell you, you know, I keep it 100 with you. I don't hide what it takes to be successful. Either you move with people that are doing something or you move with people that ain't doing nothing. And I'm always moving with people that are doing something. The comic book, like which I'm going to move to the next stage of the story, which is the story in the comic book itself. But before I get there, y'all, I had a lecture at school yesterday. And one of the lecturers was an artist came to visit us. And at first, the story, when she was talking, I was inspired. But as she kept on going, I realized that whether she was trying to or not, she has become corporate. And I lost my luster for listening to what she was saying, because at the end, we got to ask her questions. And I couldn't tell whether her energy was against me or towards me. But I kind of told her, look, I'm an independent artist. I'm building my own thing. And I want to know, what do you think is the best way a person to go? Because I get so sick of people talking to me about being an artist and getting a job. I don't want to get a damn job. I want to build my own thing. I want to do my own thing, start my own company, which is what I did. But I guess she didn't like the fact that I was kind of showing her up. No, I ain't showing you up. I'm asking you, what's the best route to go? So sometimes people that you think you should look up to, they ain't worth looking up to. That's basically a short end of my story. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to understand how you're moving and how you're thinking so that you can think and execute your vision. It's kind of like when people come on my live stream now, people stay for 2 seconds and then leave. I want to make this clear to people. The same people that were here when I was in the beginning of the year, when I had no subscribers, are now coming around when I have almost 1,300 subscribers. Let me make this clear. You didn't stop me from going where I wanted to go. I just chose to keep going forward, and you chose to stay still. You see what I'm saying? I remember when I first started, a lot of people that would ignore me, I would try to bring them on my show, that had like 700 subscribers, that thought I wasn't worth a damn. Now I have twice as many subscribers as they have, and they're still in the same spot they are. So that's the thing about your journey of creation. Don't wait on nobody to let you go where you're trying to go. Just go where you're trying to go. Which brings me to the next point, the story of the comic book and the comic book itself. The story of the comic book was plain and simple. I wanted to make sure that this book was going to tell a story of like characters that you had never seen before, characters that resonate with a community that wasn't explained. And I'm African, I'm Nigerian, so for me it was Afrocentric in a more African style way. And as I've lived in Africa, I've grown up here the rest of my life in America here, but I wanted my story to encapsulate both. And my villains, my characters that I drew, were nothing like you've ever seen before. Remember, sorry y'all, I've had a long day, man, a long day. I grew up on stuff like Gundam Wing, Techno Man, Voltron, Thundercats, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Gargoyles, X-Men, Avengers. And these cartoons inspired me to create characters that look like me, but they could also exist in the universe like those other creations that I talked about, right? So I said, well, first things first, let's walk on the cover page. If you get the cover page, you can do something, right? So the cover page was, this is gonna make you laugh. The cover page was me saying I'm gonna take my old comic book, this bio book, and make this a cover page. But then I realized as I was going, when I got the page of my comic book, I needed to change it. So you see the difference between the two? This is the old version of version 5. This is the new version. A lot of comic book creation, I don't know if any of y'all know anybody who makes comic books, but trust me, making a comic book is no joke. It's a lot of work. And then the story itself is like, you gotta write from front to back. It's gotta be sequential. Where do you want the story go? What is the premise of the story? How do the Karjakz stop the assassins? How do the assassins make sure they don't get stopped by the Karjakz? Where is it they're gonna go when the book nears its end? I can't show you. I really can't show you the comic book itself. I can only explain you the story that, like, basically the story was for me, like, I'm going to make sure that I avoid any stereotypes. Because nothing infuriated me more than reading a comic book that has stereotypes. Like, reading the X-Men comic books, Storm was always stereotyped. Reading the Avengers comic books, Black Panther was stereotyped in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? It was just ridiculous. Batman. I've always wondered, is Two-Face a brother or is not a brother, right? So people don't understand, like, a comic book is not, the story of a comic book is not, you kind of read other stuff to get ideas, and then it's a matter of execution. That's really the story and the comic book. Matter of execution. This thing helped me to create the stories. Like I'll read a page to you. Like page 3 and 4. In the laser room, fighting the coyotes. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm going to tell you, because if I tell you that, then you'll be like, oh, that's what this comic book looks like. But that's really what it was. Like each page, I would write something that I was gonna do. Then I had to draw it. Yo, I want you to imagine that. I write down what I have to do, then I have to draw it. Yo, literally, this thing was taking me maybe 6 months to draw 2 pages. I joined the pages. That much I will tell y'all. But it was taking me 6 months to draw the pages. Everything that was going to be on the page. Yeah, y'all, I want you to look at this. This page you're looking at, it took me 6 months to create it. Yeah, you heard what I said, 6 months. And this is the small size comic book. This page you're looking at right here, it took me 6 months to create it. 6 months, y'all. 6 months. And these titles that you're seeing in the pages, these are the titles of the pages. These are the same titles that you're seeing right here. See these titles you're seeing right here, y'all? These are the same titles right here. This helped to create this, right? So I'm over here just like coming up with title pages. I'd say what the title of the page is going to be. Then I draw the page. Y'all don't understand how much work that is. That is so much work. And to sit there and have people like want to devalue you, want to get your comic book for free, which is basically an insult. Because we live in a society now where people are freeloaders. They think they're owed stuff. Don't nobody owe you nothing. You know what I'm saying? Hey, brother, it shouldn't bring tears to your eyes, man. It should bring joy to your heart. Real talk. I'm so proud of myself. Like when I go to work now, I'll be honest with y'all. Hey man, it's work. Whatever you're gonna do, that's why whatever you do, you don't give it away for free. So when people approach you about, yo, you got a free stream? No, hell no. You got a free song? You know, hell no. You got a free comic book? Hell no. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving none of you my comic book for free. These 2 books right here, whether you get the small or you get the big, you're gonna pay for it. Hell no. There will be no free nothing. $100, $200. I will get my value for what I've created. I'm a one-man band. I'm a one-man army. I'm a one-man wrecking crew. Didn't nobody help me create this thing? People don't know what it takes, and people don't care. All they care about is the usual, because we live in a society now that you got a bunch of freeloaders. Motherfuckers are calling themselves woke, but they ain't woke. They actually need to take their ass back to sleep. You ain't woke, you asleep. Because if you was woke, you'd be supporting artists out here. That's why a lot of us artists are broke as hell. That's why I don't really deal with a lot of artists, man, because they get on my damn nerves. They're lazy as hell, they're not driven, and they have no business sense. None. When I was in school, I was trying to form a team. And I quickly realized that these motherfuckers are lazy as hell. They don't want to work and they don't want to contribute to what they're doing. So I went off on my own. I don't think I'll be honest with y'all, I'm not ever joining a team again. I'm never going to be part of a team in terms of when it comes to my animation and my comic books. I will ride solo. I'll hire people, but I'm not going to be part of a team. Because these people only come around when you've actually made something of yourself. People really don't know what it takes. The amount of time, the grind, the fortitude, the sheer will, the not giving up. Because that is really what it takes to create. Look, let me read the back of my comic book, y'all. And I'm going to tell y'all this much about my comic book. I'm going to say this because I'm here. Look, this book is a dream come true. Years upon years of work. Creating, planning, staying motivated, and just not giving up. Dreams have a price. It's called sacrifice. What you want to exist cannot exist unless you create it. The world owes you nothing. I'm going to say that again. The world owes you nothing. You are and always will be the creator and keep up your dreams. Aspire and achieve. That's a note I wrote to myself in my comic book. Look, I'm going to show it to you on my bio page. Right there. Read it. Look at that. That's what I wrote to myself. And that's why I have the courage to say, I ain't giving nobody no free comic book. Fuck you. I go on TikTok, people talking about you're going to keep for a free comic book. The nerve of people to actually ask you to give them a free comic book. They have no respect for what you've done. They basically think you owe them shit. I don't owe you shit. You know how long it took me for me to create this? I started this journey in 2016. 2016. I want you to see this right here. I'm going to point this battle strategy for you. Look at this right there. 10/6/2016. That's when I started this journey. And I'm now in 2025. I copyrighted my comic book this year. I trademarked it this year. You know how much work that is? And you know how much money I spent to print the comic books? Both sizes? I printed one batch. I said, nah, that's not good enough because I need people with bad eyes to be able to read it. So I printed a bigger version. And people with the nerve to talk about, You got anything free for me? Hell no. Not a free t-shirt, not free nothing. You ain't support me. Hey, how you doing, Kayla? Welcome to the chat again. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to another awesome episode of Sanusi Vision Art Life. I'm doing an episode about the Karjakz Training Day comic book, focusing strictly on the comic book. But that's the story of the comic book, man. That's the story right there. It's not easy, y'all. Man, I stress the word, it's not easy. So thank all of you for joining me. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this. If you know there are fans out there of comic books, share this with them. It's not that late in the night. People need to stay their ass awake. You know what I'm saying? The only thing free is people telling you no. That's definitely awesome, Juan. I love that. I got to keep that one in the arsenal, man. I love that. That's too awesome. People are just some freeloaders, man. Like, I could have told this stream at 7 in the evening, and I would have got the same result. You know, people love to think that you owe them something. I don't owe you shit. You want my comic book? Take your ass on sanusivision.com and buy it. You heard what I said. sanusivision.com and go buy it. I am not giving you my comic book for free. Hell no. If you scroll down through the bottom of my comic book, you'll see my comic book. Go ahead and get it there. Aside from that, you ain't getting jack squat from me for free. You know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna happen. I will not be deterred. I will not be deterred from any. I will not be deterred. I'm proud of myself because even though my characters are original, and it's harder for me to promote my characters because most people want to see stuff they already know. Avengers, yada, 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 whatever you can think of. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to promote my characters because I know one day my character is going to be just as big as Avengers, as X-Men, if not bigger. Don't let people with small minds deter you from your idea, man. So that's the storyline of the comic books, right? That's how I built the idea of the comic books. I just said to myself, I got a style, I got a book, and this live stream that I'm doing, this episode doesn't even have to really take that long because it's not about the length of everything I'm talking about in the segments. It's about what I had to do to get when I got here. Oh my God, y'all, give me a second. I gotta get I put the mannequin in the wrong place. Damn, that's messed up. Y'all, give me a second. Man, my foot is killing me, y'all. Straight killing me. So today's gonna be simple, man. You know what I mean? So that's where we're at. So thanks for joining me. Be sure to hit the like. And that's where you have the storyline, man, of the comic book itself. The comic book itself is like, this thing is an achievement, man, to say the least. To actually be holding my own comic book in my hand, to actually be able to sell it. I had great success in Los Angeles Comic Con, and I cannot wait to WonderCon, my first show next year. Oh my God, WonderCon is gonna be off the chain. People that come there, they actually come to support your art. When you go to shows like Long Beach Comic Con, I will never go to that show again. You know what I'm saying? I don't really waste my time going to every show anymore because I've realized that I'm not paying the show table only for me to do nothing. Because these shows milk the artists for the money, but the artists don't make no money. That ain't going to be me. Nah, I'm too smart for that. I'm real strategic about what shows I go to. Because at shows I go to, I know people have money. And people are coming up to your table and asking you, do you have anything for $5? Do you have a poster for $5? Do you have a comic book for $5? Hell, fuck no. This small one is $100. This big one is $200. I don't care if you one individual are saying, oh, I'm not going to buy it. Who cares what you buy? I got people out there that'll buy it. What you won't buy, somebody else will. It's just like sneakers. Everybody ain't buying Jordans, but somebody's buying Jordans. It's just like my sneaker line. Everybody ain't buying Batas, but somebody's buying Batas. Man, the first time I created a sneaker and I designed it of my own and I sold it, I got proud of myself. It's the same way with this comic book. There's actually people who think that I'm going to hand you this for free. I do videos promoting this thing every single day. I am not giving you nothing for free. I'm not asking for your support. I don't need it either. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the comic book's at. Now, the characters. Onto the characters, which is next. The characters was probably, I don't want to say it was challenging, but when you create characters, especially when the characters started from here, well, it started here, the original OGs. Karjakz Assassins version 1, and then version 2, and then version 3. So this is 2, 3, and 4, version 5. Once I got to this, I kind of realized it was showtime. So I took this idea and concept from this old comic book, from these bio books that I created, to create this book right here. right? You got characters, you got animation. I'm going to show you the animation later. I knew one thing. Look, and I can actually break down each character to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Look. And there's a Bible coming. So look. You got the Karjakz, right? You got Cajun. You got the Escalade. You got Cynthia. You got Diesel. You got Glocks. You got Shepherd. You got Rasputin. You got Sphinx. Then you got the assassins, the villains. You got Kanji. You got Yukon. You got Snipes. You got Excursion. You got Sun Tzu. You got Artillery. You got Revo. You got Seth. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the Coyotes right here. For me, like the whole idea, and let me use this bigger one. The whole idea of having characters, what's each person gonna do? Kanji, all the heroes, Snipes, Yukon, the Coyotes. Placement was the biggest thing. Like, let's start off with this page right here. The opening page, the opening scene. Look at that. Look at the way I got the characters, right? And I had to create a directory, I would say. I want to call it a directory because I had to break down each character, their background story, what it is and what they stand for, all that kind of stuff, right? And I did the same thing with the assassins, which I'll show you. I don't mind showing y'all, but I'm not showing you my whole comic book. That ain't happening. Right here, look at the assassins right there. You see that right there? So the other one I showed you was the Karjakz. These are the assassins. So I kind of knew I needed to create the way I was going to create this comic book. It needed to be in a way where, excuse me, y'all, in a way where each character was gonna. There's a bunch of characters on the screen, on the pages, but each one can stand out. Not every artist can do that, y'all. When I tell y'all it's a lot of work, y'all, it's a lot of work, a lot of work. So to hear people thinking that it's gonna be free, it ain't happening. And each character, and as I was doing this comic book, y'all, I was evolving each character. Unfortunately, even with the prototype, which is this one right here, I can't show y'all the pages. I don't want to because now that'll devalue the comic book. And then you got the freeloaders that don't like buying anything, so they'll think they're gonna get it for free. No, you get to go look at my comic book. You get to go buy it. You get to go support me. Yeah, you heard what I said. You get to go support me as an artist. We as artists, we don't get enough support. Everybody's always trying to freeload off of us. We should give away our drawings. We should give away our paintings. We should give away our pencil drawings. We should give away our comic books. No, hell no. You should support. Try that. Try supporting. You know what I'm saying? Try supporting artists. Try actually being having a backbone and actually supporting. And I'm going to talk about that when I'm going to actually do an episode. All you busters out there that think it's okay for you to be freeloading off of artists and not supporting their work. Meanwhile, artists are starving. They're working at Home Depot. They're working in different job places. Things that are complete opposite spectrums of what they do as artists. And then some of them just give up because it gets too hard. They don't want to keep getting the rejection letters. They don't want to keep getting the no's. Well, I'm all for the no's. That's why my characters, through the comic book sequence itself, I was building, like I literally was creating version 1, even though this is version 6 of my characters, but I was creating, even though these are version 6 of my characters, I was still creating different ways for my characters to look. And it was gonna get hard because guess what? You're working on something that is supposed to be a future creation, gonna get future finished. But you have to tell the story in a way where it builds every single character, from the pages to what they do to how they do it, all that stuff, y'all. Man, this comic book was a challenge, man. It was a challenge taking the characters. You got 15 characters. You got the Karjakz, you got the assassins. Figuring out how to put them figuring out how to separate them, put each individual character on the stages that they need to be on, while growing each character's what's this word I'm looking for? Scene, recognition. It ain't easy, man. It ain't easy. And now, so of course, everything about my character has always been based on me wanting to have an animation series. I love cartoons. There's no getting around it. I love cartoons. So you can see the banner behind me, which I'm going to show you later. And I'm also going to show you the posters. You know what I'm saying? But I love cartoons. Cartoons is my thing. I can't help myself. I love cartoons. And then as I realized that I had the opportunity to actually create my own animation series, which I'm studying animation right now in school, which is totally a blessing. I said, yeah, I got this, man. I can do this if I want to do this, and I'm going to do this. And sure enough, here I go. So I start to do the animations, and then as I go, I need to create the comic book. I create the comic book. The characters create how can I say this? My characters created my comic book. If that makes any sense. Having something to go off of is how you create your comic book. Each character is part of a scene, and the scenes get bigger because I'm using the characters that I have to create the scenes. The characters make the scenes, whether they're eating, whether they're studying, whether they're fighting against the villains, whatever they might be doing. But the characters are creating the scene based, and when I say characters are creating the scene, you're using each character and you're using the pages from what you've drawn in the past to create the amazing look that you have with the comic book. And then the comic books become sequential, man. You know what I mean? So that's where the characters come from. So each character has an original name. In fact, each character, Cajun, which is Jones Phoenix, Escalade, Sarah Phoenix, Glock, Sean Phoenix, Rasputin, Sean Phoenix, Glock, Chris Phoenix, Diesel, Ben Gray, Shepard, Vincent Pierce, Sincere, Scarlet Gray, right? Then you got the assassins led by Lord Sun Tzu, Overlord Sun Tzu. You got Sun Tzu, Blaine Bishop. You got Artillery, Aeon Gray. You got Excursion, Ruben Drones. You got Kanji Lee Bishop. You got Twan Lee Bishop, Revo. You've got Snipes, Nicole Pham. You got Yukon, Titus Maluga. Then you got the Coyotes, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's how my characters were getting created. It's y'all. I think I self-inspired myself, if that makes any sense. Then, of course, being that I was having this comic book, I was working on animation. And no, I'm not going to show you the new animation because I can't. The new animation is not ready. Y'all ain't ready to be seeing this, man. Let's see how many people voted. Okay, we got 6 votes, 50-50. That's all right there. That's all right there, man. You know what I'm saying? Thank y'all for voting too. And thank y'all for growing the channel, man. So now look, what I'm going to play you next is the animation series. And the animation series, basically, is something, it's not the animation series. It's actually an old version of animation, but I'm going to show you the new version of animation. But the new version of animation, oh my God, y'all don't understand. It's next level sick, man. The new version of my animation, oh my God, it's all that in a bag of chips. You know, never be afraid to take chances on yourself. So that's what we're going right here. Look, I'm about to play this intro, man. And this animation is all I'm going to show you. Yo, give me a second. Yep, there you go. That's the animation. This is all the animation I got for you. That's all I got for y'all. The new one I'm working on ain't ready to be seen. But trust me, it dwarfs this. It's on steroids compared to this, man. And this is pretty sick. So y'all, that's the animation right there. And even this animation helped me create the comic book. It was the only way I was gonna have a comic book, man. 9 years of work, man. That's work right there, y'all. It's work. You know what I'm saying? So y'all thank you for joining me. So look, that's the animation and the characters, because I've already introduced you to my characters before. You know who they are. All I was trying to do was make sure I evolved from. You see the Bible book right here? This is the version 5 of my characters. You see where we're at? So I just want to make sure you got the time you needed to talk. I make sure that you got. It's not easy doing what I'm doing, man. You know what I'm saying? So I always appreciate people sticking around when I'm telling the story about my creations. Now, the future plan for the comic books. This book is only the beginning of many more great comic books to come, and I do mean many more great comic books to come. Mind right? Give me a second, y'all, and then final thoughts. This book is only the beginning. There's many more books to come in this universe. And trust me, the same approach will be put towards those books. Actually, to be honest with y'all, I've actually started on the second comic book. I ain't waiting on nobody to find what I'm doing. No, I'm going to go do what I'm going to do. And then as always, I'm going to always support myself. I ain't counting on others to support me. No, I support myself. You see what I'm saying? I support myself. So the comic book itself, the future plans is animation. The future plans is more comic books. And then the future plan is just being able to take what you an idea and a concept of what you think of and manifest it into reality. You see what I'm saying? It's all about manifestation. If you have power of manifestation, you can do anything, man. So these are the comic books. These are the future plans for the Karjakz Assassins universe. You got Training Day. You got other comic books that are gonna come out, and it's gonna be on and popping, y'all. It's gonna be on and popping. I love where I'm going with this comic book. I love how it's grown exponentially. You just gotta believe in yourself, man. And those are my future plans: animation, more comics, but comic books that actually incorporate me, having shields and body watch for all the nonsense that's going on. You gotta really trust yourself, man. To be honest with you, trusting yourself, knowing that what you're gonna do, you're gonna create what you're gonna create, that'll get you successful. And sure enough, that's what happened. Execution, man. Execution. You know what I'm saying? So that's the future plans. I mean, it's not really that hard. I want an animation series. I want a comic book series. I want to have a real connection to some real shows, particularly the King, the Lion King, or whatever you want to call it. I just know this: if you're gonna do what you're gonna do, not only do what you're doing in the current present, make future plans too. And then please don't let nobody talk you out of this. When you got a genuine, as Stan Lee said, when you got a genuinely good idea, don't let some idiot talk you out of it. Seriously, y'all, real talk. So that's where we at with this. Now, next up is getting your mind right. And getting your mind right is all part of a dream journey, because when you're getting your mind right, trust me, there's people, literally people, that don't want to see you successful. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand, and I'm using Get Your Mind Right segment today in terms of my comic book. I can't tell young people like, oh yeah, we're gonna get it when you come out. All of a sudden I make it $100, and all of a sudden they don't want to buy it. They think it should be free. Heck no. I ain't giving you jack for free. You ain't done nothing for me for free, so why would I owe you anything? You know what I'm saying? Get your mind right, man. You gotta really believe in yourself. Anything you're gonna do, you gotta do it with the conviction of that you're gonna have yourself only. And once you get into that mindset, then you'll probably find more success. You know what I'm saying? That's all about getting your mind right. Focusing on your mind right, focusing on getting right, getting rich. Not so much getting rich, but getting wealthy to achieve my goals that I want to achieve. Getting your mind right is oh my God, it's so, I can't stress the importance of getting your mind right, man. You know what I'm saying? You have to wanna better yourself. Plain and simple, y'all. So that's your get mind right. And you gotta have a dream. My dream was Karjakz Assassin Universe in 2016, right? Excuse me, 2009 to 2012. But then my next aspiration was 2012. You know what I'm saying? And of course, the final go around is when in 2016 I decided I want to create this comic book. That's the smartest thing I ever did. It gave me direction, it gave me point, it gave me everything I'm trying to look for. And I tried not to I try to avoid people that are gonna be like, oh, can you look for this because we have it here? No, I'm not looking for jack squat. Go get it yourself. You gotta go talk to whomever you gotta talk to. So you gotta believe in yourself, man. Believe in yourself forwards, never doubt yourself backwards. I'm gonna say that again. Believe in yourself forwards, never doubt yourself backwards. I actually gotta write that down, y'all. I actually gotta write that down. That is actually a very cool line. Believe in yourself forwards and never doubt yourself backwards. Let me write this down. Believe in yourself forwards and never doubt yourself backwards. Sorry, y'all. I had to write this. This has to be written. That's an awesome line right there. So that's where I was at with that, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's my get right. And also to being healthy too. I'm gonna do a strip part. I don't think, honestly, y'all, I get to the end of this comic book without my therapy. My therapy really changed everything. And I built this book during my therapy sessions. Because I didn't finish my last therapy session until this year. May 25th, May 7th, 2025. And I didn't finish my comic book. Its official copywriting didn't happen until, let me see. I started the initial paperwork in April 18th. April 18th Thursday, 2025. And then I waited and I waited and I had to wait for the comic book to be ready so that I could be able to explain it. And then the copyright stuff. And I did all that because of therapy. Therapy has given me a new patience, but it's also given me a new aggressive type of style of working towards what I want to achieve and then not flaking out and not moving with flakes, man. You got to have void flakes. That means people that are full of crap and don't really want to do nothing with themselves. You know what I'm saying? So that's where you got to be at, man. So now, thank y'all for joining me, man. Today, I got to start about the Karjakz Fashion Universe. My final thoughts. The idea, the courage to create it, the creation, just understanding what it is I need to do in terms of like the storyline, the comic book being sequential. You know what I'm saying? That was really mattered to me. Then of course the story itself, the comic book, telling the story through the lens of excuse me y'all, through the lens of something amazing like this. You don't understand how great this book is till you actually are fortunate enough to see it, fortunate enough to get part of it. So this is the comic books right there. So you got this thing right here. This thing helped me to guide me through what I was doing. And then of course, you got the story. The story is basically what I wanted to be, but I wanted the story to me where it matched up. Nobody could be full of crap and tell me whatever I wasn't doing. I got that take like one time, then after that, I got busy working, y'all. You have to really just get to it when you're gonna do what you're gonna do. And then of course, characters and animation. Man, these characters are as cool as it gets, man. Not to mention I have training day. You know what I'm saying? This is what I do. I was inspired by my characters. I was inspired to have a comic book of my own. And then I got some help along the way. You know what I'm saying? Along the way for people that actually wanted to help me. Most people don't want to help you succeed, man. I'll be honest with you. Most people want to help you fail. That's kind of messed up. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of messed up, but it is the truth. So overly, whatever endeavor you're doing, whatever you're trying to do, make sure you do it in the way that pulls you forward, man. So yo, that's my final thoughts. Now, before I get up out of here, there's always gear I got to show y'all. And all this is going to be all Karjakz Assassins Training Day stuff. Nothing else. From phone cases, to sneakers, to bomber jackets, to the t-shirt you see me wearing, all your Karjakz Assassins Training Day. So this right here is a Karjakz Assassins Training Day phone case. I created it when I first created the comic book, as you can see right there. Next level stuff right here, man. This phone case is off the chain. Oh yeah, I was commemorating the comic book, man. Then, of course, you got the comic book itself. Come on now. You got two different sizes. 100 for the small, 200 for the big. People waste enough money every single day in whatever they do in Africa. You can avoid, in America or all over the world, you can afford to buy my comic book, man. And no, I'm not going to delete the price. That ain't going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Thank y'all for joining me. So look, then of course, guess what else? A bomber jacket. Yeah, that's right. You didn't know I had all this right here. This is a bomber jacket, y'all. Platinum label bomber jacket right here. This is available on sanusivision.com. A bomber jacket. That's right. I made a bomber jacket to commemorate. You know I had to do that. Look at it, this thing. So sick. Today I told you it's going to be solely focusing on Karjakz Assassins Training Day stuff, man. Look at that. This is so sick. So sick. You know what I'm saying? Look at the characters, all up on the characters. So you got the assassins on the left arm. You got the Karjakz on the right arm. Then you got all of them in that universe on the front side of the bomber jacket, which I'm going to zip together so I can let y'all see it. Look at this, man. Tell me that ain't cool. Then you got the backside of the comic book. Excuse me, of the bomber jacket. Yeah, this is what we're doing over here at Sanusi Vision, man. Then, of course, you got the sneakers itself. Look at, oh yeah, I gotta put this away. Oh, hell no. I can't believe I had this just chilling. You know how important this thing is right here? Man, this is next level importance right here. Girl, give me a second. I am not messing this up. Oh, no. I'm actually gonna check the dates. Now, these are sneakers. These sneakers are to honor and commemorate the Karjakz Assassins Training Day comic book, the first official comic book in the Karjakz Assassin universe right here. These are the sneakers to commemorate it. And yes, a certain style design like this is available on my website, but it's not really like this because this one is the creator's edition. For me, strictly, I'm gonna be the only one rocking this right here. Only one. Look at this right here, man. Look at this thing, is pretty sick. You got the Karjakz on this foot. You got Cajun, Escalade, you got Sincere, you got Glocks, you got Rasputin, you got Diesel, you got Shepherd, you got Spinks. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it's at right there. You got to really believe in yourself. And then, of course, You got the assassins right there on this side. You got the assassins right here. Excuse me, on the left foot. The assassins are the villains, man. Look at this. So sick. You got Sanusi, Artillery, Kanji, Revo. You know what I'm saying? You got Excursion. You got Seth right there. You got Snipes and Yukon. You got Snipes and you got Yukon. This is what we're doing with Sanusi Vision. You really gotta have an execution plan for yourself so you can go about doing what you want to do, man, and not giving up. So the Batas 3 High Tops Karjakz Assassin Training Day comic book special available now on sanusivision.com. This is straight heat, man. You know what I mean? Then last but not least is the art. I gotta show you the art. The art I gotta show you, because if I don't show you the art, what kind of an artist am I, man? Look at this. This is the comic book right here. This is the bio books right here. This is the posters, and all these posters are all available on sanusivision.com. Feel free to look, feel free to check it out. I'm even going to show you apparel. Look at this. This is the entire Karjakz Assassins Training Day comic book right here. The entire comic book, the entire poster. Everybody in the Karjakz Assassin universe, you get to see them right there. Then you got all the heroes right here. You got all the villains right there. You know what I'm saying? Yes, posters are available. And yes, they will be sold to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Check this out. You got the assassins. You got Cajun, Karjakz right here. You know what I'm saying? Billionaire industrialist. I feel like he's my Tony Stark of the team. You know what I'm saying? I always wanted armor, all that stuff, right? Like that. So it just happens coincidentally that I created all this. So you got the Karjakz. Then you got Cajun and Sphinx right here. Yeah, that's right. These are all the posters. Remember, all these posters are available on sanusivision.com. You got Escalade. You got Sincere. You got Glocks. You got Rasputin. You got Shepard. Excuse me. You got Diesel. You got Shepard. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, you got the assassins. You got the assassins. Those villains. They got Sanusi and Seth, leader of the assassins right there. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Artillery, second in command. You got Excursion, field commander. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you heard what I said. Field commander. Then you got Kanji. You got Revo. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, we're handling business right now, man. Then of course, you got Snipes, you got Yukon. You know what I'm saying? And then of course, you got the Coyotes, man. This is what your boy doing, man. This is what I'm doing. So, this is what I did, man. And look, even the banner reflects it. Excuse me, y'all. Let me get this. Give me a second to flip it. Watch this. I'm gonna even show you the banner. Look how cool this is. You see the banner, the Karjakz, the heroes? Look at this right here, man. This is a banner representing all the Karjakz. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. That is so sick. This is what I'm doing, man. This is what I've chosen to do. Then, of course, you got the whole banner. Karjakz Assassins Training Day. I'm on pan. Look at this right here. Look at this right here. That's the villains, the assassins right there. You can see. The one I'm always showing y'all. Yeah, this is next level sick, man. You know what I'm saying? You got the Karjakz. Again, look at this. This is sick. Then you got the apparel. Look at this. Men's gear. Karjakz Assassins Training Day. Look at this. This is so cool. Men's gear right here. You know what I'm saying? This is the sweatpants right here. You see the difference. This is Karjakz Assassins Training Day. So if you're a fan of apparel and t-shirts, you got to go get you one of these. Then we've got the ladies wear. Look at this ladies wear, man. This is totally sick. Karjakz Assassins Training Day t-shirt right here to commemorate the comic book. Look at this. This is next level stuff, y'all. I will not devalue myself for anybody. You know what I'm saying? So right here, this is what you're looking at. These are so sick. Custom designed, y'all. You know what I mean? So that's everything in the Karjakz Assassins Training Day comic book, man. That's all. How y'all doing? Welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate that. I can't read names. Aquabine, I think is what I'm reading. Thanks for joining me, man. Thanks for the likes. Thank you for the subscribing. Thanks for being part of the movement. Where am I from? I'm not telling you. All you need to know is I'm Nigerian descent. That's all you need to know. I'm American, Nigerian American. Nigerian American is what I am. But me telling people where I'm from, I don't do that. But thank all of y'all for joining me, man. Thank all of you for being part of the chat tonight. The Karjakz Assassins Training Day comic book was my focus tonight. I really sorry y'all joining me late, but you missed most of the meat and potatoes, man. I'm nearing the end, but thank you still for joining me. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe, and definitely hit the notification button. So, y'all, that's the comic books right there, man. That's everything I wanted to talk about, man. And look, before I get up out of here, we got to thank our sponsors. Now, look, there is a thing I am gonna pan through a bunch of sneakers. If I want to show y'all that right fast. So of course this is, check this out. This Karjakz Assassin's Training Day sneaker right here. Look how cool that is. That is super cool. I know y'all think that is super cool. That is lit. That's legitness. You know what I'm saying? Look at the Sport 2s. You got the women's sport Batas wedges. You got Karjakz Assassin's Training Day sneaker right there. The classic kids one. You got Iron Man and Blade. Look at this right here. Iron Man, Blade. You got Wolverine. Look at that. You got Deadpool, right? Then you got the Batas wedge sneakers. Oh yeah. Look at this right here, available on sanusi.com. Then you got the Batas Sport 2s. You see these right here? That is what's up. Black Panther versus Batman. Then of course you got the creme de la creme, the newest toy in the arsenal. Look at this right here, man. This is what we're doing over here at Sanusi Vision. We're making it happen. So that's everything I'm doing, man. So that's the dream right there, y'all. Always executing the dream. The posters, never giving up. Just making it happen. So y'all, grateful for it, man. So y'all be, thank you for subscribing, man. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for joining, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, so thank y'all, all y'all for joining. And tomorrow I will be back because tomorrow I'm going to focus on the atrocity that's happening in the Sudan. That's right, in Sudan. I'm Nigerian. I refuse to let the media, mainstream media, acting like this atrocity in Sudan is not happening, but it's actually happening. And they're a bunch of B words, not doing nothing about it. So y'all, thank y'all, man. Thank you for joining my podcast tonight. I got to thank our sponsors before I get up out of here. This Sanusi Vision podcast is brought to you by Homeland Fashions, home of authentic African fashion and accessories from the motherland. That's right, accessories from the motherland. So Homeland Fashions, custom design is going to be, the shop is going to be available soon. It's coming down the pipe. Once I get clearance and clarity, I'll let y'all know what the website name is. You know what I'm saying? But this podcast, Homeland Fashions is making custom African attire. And one thing I've done for myself, being that I'm independent, I've actually started joining forces with people that actually are going to make a difference. And making a difference matters to me more than making money. You see what I'm saying? Making a difference matters to me more than making money. So that's important. So y'all, also too, I've got Sanusi Vision podcast brought to you by Tigler. If you need executive services from plumbers to pediatricians, and everything in between, search Tigler. Don't wait. That's Tigler.com, yo. That's Tigler.com today. Don't wait. Search today. Thank you. And this podcast is also brought to you by Anadil Foot and Ankle. Don't live for foot pain like Anadil Foot and Ankle. Make your feet happy again. That's AnadilCenter.com for details, y'all. That's AnadilCenter.com for details, y'all. Y'all, thank you for joining me, man. This podcast has been amazing. I got to talk about the creation that I created, Karjakz Assassin's Training Day comic book, available now on sanusi.com. You should be proud of yourself when you create a creation like this, man. There's no question that I know I've achieved something greatness. And this book, since I've created it, has been busting doors open for me left and right. That's why I always tell people, man, move silent and hit hard. I'm going to say it again. Move silent and hit hard, which means when you move with your art, people know you're moving, and you move silent and you get things done. But when you're loud with your art, you always got something you're asking for. And whenever people, you know, it's just like music business. If you sign a record deal, you're really getting an advance. That advance is designed to pay for everything that you're doing. So right here is what I got my own. I got my mentality of I advance myself. So I will not waste my time with anybody trying to waste my time. So y'all, thank y'all for joining me. And look, thank y'all for joining me, man. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all joining me. This podcast is produced, written. Thank y'all for listening. This podcast is produced, written, and directed by yours truly, Adewale Jr. Please check out my website at sanusivision.com for all the cool stuff we got, from apparel to sneakers to you know what I'm saying, Karjakz Assassin's Training Day. You got sneakers, you got phone cases, you got bomber jackets, which I'm going to show y'all. You got posters, which is right behind me. You got bomber jackets, which is right here. Trust me, man. You want to do this doggone thing. You feel me? This is a must win for all times. You know what I mean? So, and thank y'all for joining me, man. It's harder to sell an original idea, which is what I'm doing, than it is to sell a made idea already. So that's why a lot of people join me. They'll subscribe and then they'll unsubscribe, not knowing that if you unsubscribe, I really don't care. I'm not going to see it. I'm not going to care about it. And the help that you want from me, you know what I'm saying? You don't get to tell me how to go about building this dream of mine. And this dream is incredible. So please check out our website, sanusivision.com, for all the cool stuff we got. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? This is where I do my podcast. This is where I go live streaming. Pretty much is what I do everything for my Sanusi Vision podcast. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely a YouTube fan. I didn't used to know how to use YouTube, but I'm now become a YouTube fan. Trust me. You want to get on YouTube if you're trying to promote anything, man, and do it on your own. Build your own brand, build your own collective, build your own space. You know what I'm saying? And please, don't forget to review us. Oh, one more thing. Social media handles, man. Are you kidding me? You got to use social media, man. Whether you're a politician or whether you own a business or whatever. You know what I'm saying? The drivers might be scheduled from Saturday to Sunday or something like that. Because they have social media in itself. And I was talking about this the other day. Please, as an artist, if you have social media or you don't have it, please go get one. You must have one. There's no way in hell you plan on building what you're doing without helping one. Because if you don't have one, you're going to be at the mercy of all these other companies. I'm not trying to be at the mercy of all these companies. I believe in myself. I know myself and I trust myself. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? The social media is a great way to grow your brand. You know what I'm saying? For me, every single day, TikTok and YouTube, TikTok and YouTube, TikTok and YouTube. But I've got Facebook, X, and Instagram. I'm not all that about them, but I still use them anyway. You know what I'm saying? So social media has a job. So I don't want to hear any artists whining and crying about what they ain't got. No, get off your ass and get a social media platform so you can use it to build yourself up. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's important to me. And then please, don't forget to review us, rate us, give us a 5-star, don't be a hater. And as always, y'all continue to aspire and achieve. Thank you so much. And look, I've always said this one thing right here. There's two things I always say before I get up out of here. One, there's no success in skipping steps. The back of the line is just as important as front of the line. Be determined, not desperate. And then the second one, your dreams can be delayed but must never be extinguished. So wait your time while the universe delivers your right hand. Be determined, not desperate. Right now, you know what I'm saying? So, and one more thing before I give my closing remarks. Again, I have to state this. What's happening to the people in Sudan, Africa, is an atrocity. And the fact that the world is not up in arms about it lets me know that people really have little value for African life. They think we're supposed to just feed their freeloading country and then do whatever they want. But then again, I blame a lot of the African leaders in Africa. They are useless human beings, spade up cowards. There's only 3 good leaders in Africa, man. Gayota of Mali, Ticheni of Niger, and then Traore of Burkina Faso. These individuals are actually doing amazing things, leading their country into forwardness. Whereas we have these useless leaders like the one in Tanzania, the one in the ones in Sudan, the one in South Sudan, the ones, God, there's only maybe 3 countries with good leaders. You got Burkina Faso, you got Niger, and you got Mali. Then you got other outskirts of leadership. And that's why a lot of African leaders never stand up whenever they see one of their useless own getting taken out of power. Man, you got one in Cameroon right now, Paul Biya. He's a useless leader. You've got one in I'm trying to think where else. Guinea, Equatorial Guinea. He's a useless leader. You've got one in, boy, there sure is a lot of like people that ain't got no honor, you know what I'm saying? But this is what you have to deal with, man. I'm not forget praying. I want people to actually stop complaining about South Sudan. Like they censor what we're talking about when we're talking about Sudan intentionally, so that nobody can know the atrocities going on in Sudan. But I don't care. I'm Nigerian. I'm gonna talk about it. And Nigerians in West Africa, I refuse to have a platform like this and not talk about Sudan. But don't worry, all of tomorrow I'm gonna talk about Sudan when I come live. So if you choose to join me, great. If you choose not to join me, I don't care. I am going to talk about Sudan. You know what I'm saying? So yo, thank you for joining us, man. Please don't forget to review us, rate us, give us a 5-star. Don't be a hater. Don't be a hater. And as always, y'all, continue to aspire and achieve. Have a good night. Stay safe, y'all. Peace. Oh yeah, and don't forget to get a copy of the Karjakz Training comic book available now on SanusiVision.com. Stay safe, y'all. Peace.